Hello, hello, hello. What's up? Being savages to another episode of Brittany Bond, Fatty Bag, and Afro Bear reporting live out of the remote collective, aka the collective, aka the portal, aka the prototype of the new Earth. Because we're holding the new Earth vibration, we're being that. Being is the new doing, and we invite you to be. So let's take a divine deep breath. And settle in that glory of who you are and bask with us in this gloriness of the new golden age that is happening, that we're shifting in right now in this moment, billions of times per second. How you feeling in your body?
Woo! I feel good this morning. I did all of the yummy things that make me feel yummy on the inside. So I feel really yummy.
Besides making laugh, baby. We missed
Besides
this.
that one. It was really important for me to connect to my higher self today because I feel the last couple of days have been external chaos around our house with them putting a new fence in and just many things happening. So
It feels so nice with the new fans.
yeah, and they're going to do the other side.
Yes, Brittany's really strong in manifesting that. She knows what she wants, and
Well, it's like if the landlord doesn't do it, we will just pay for it.
yeah,
This is what's nice about Thailand. You just pay for things and people do things.
being savages make their own luck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, baby.
Mm-hmm.
What shall we talk about today?
I don't know. Don't you have things on your list?
Yeah, like one thing, the last thing I wrote down is
Yeah.
what we spoke about, that people experience.
Right,
How-
first off, how are you feeling in your body? I didn't ask you.
Finally, you ask. After your glorious cacao,
Oh, baby, don't tell them.
Brittany makes the best cacao. You should come here just to try her cacao. You should offer cacao ceremonies.
Faraday would not drink my cacao today.
Because Brittany thinks like fixing it, it's just like putting more smectastic in, but this is
There were some ratios off today. Let's just
Yeah.
put it that way.
like too much smectastic is just too sweet. And I like it sweet, but even for me it's like too sweet.
I know.
Or give me
baby.
one more sip. I wanna like try. So yeah, I'm gonna get in the cacao game and then I make cacao for us.
You used to make it really good last winter when we were here together.
Maybe no. No. Yeah, I know, but like right now I love my baby coffees. It's just
Little babies.
instant coffee powder. So it's minimalistic, you don't need a machine or anything. Cold water because it dissolves and I don't like it hot when it's hot outside. You know, sometimes I even put ice cubes in like an iced coffee. A little bit smectastic. A little bit of protein powder so it's like thick. And like a thick blend milk. And then shaking it really well. And then giving it love, swag and magic. And then enjoying it gloriously on the beach with Afro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel really good. Like the last days we were upgrading. We don't call it being sick. We're calling it being upgrading and just flowing with it and accepting it because it all happens for a reason. And it's so nice to really accept it, not like trying to do all the things. And like I'm healthy when you're not. Like is anyone
Yeah.
kidding? It's so nice to like we're feeling this way. Let's nourish it. Let's like lay down next to each other, watch the new Barbie movie. Maybe you want to comment on that. And like order food and be cozy and sleep a lot. Yesterday we went to bed at 8 or 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and the last days as well because we really like listen to our bodies and our bodies like, yeah, go to spirit a lot. And when we actually rest, we feel good, you know? It's like not that we're not feeling well. It's like we're not feeling well when we're doing things like going to the gym or something.
Yeah, definitely. I've been feeling like I'm just in a different dimension almost. Exactly. Like, I think I was saying yesterday, I'm like, I feel like I'm in a dream right now, but we're wide awake. And like from a physical perspective, it's just more like I have a sore throat and like a mild fever, like this low burning fever that just has not gone away for a couple days. I think the fever has gone away this morning. But I've just been feeling like, woo, whoa, what is happening? Like we go to the beach in the morning and we're just like, because our house was being like also constructioned on and like so much loud noise that we were going to the beach in the morning and just laying there. I just remember being like, this is our life. At least we have a beautiful beach to just lay and exist. But I have totally let go of that. I need to do things on my to-do list, you know? And that feels really nice.
Yeah, if people don't know, because yesterday the noise of the fence was going on. So it's like so, there's like, quote unquote, the same things happen all around the world, no matter where you are. Like it's called life. And like noise, for example, you wake up like it's like life is like, they're like everywhere challenges and you cannot predict, it always turns so differently than you thought. So we're like rolling with it and flowing with it and seeing the beauty in it and the synchronicity and why it's there so it can transform and da. So here is so beautiful because the life things, like we woke up to noise and then we go out of the house and we go like to the beach and we're going like to 2 restaurants, launching in the beanbags. Like it's like nice,
Yeah, we have very nice challenges. I do, though, I feel like we've been uncovering a lot of negative beliefs that either of us have. I mean, for other people, I don't know how big this is for them, but one thing for us was here at the house. Like I have a lot of negative beliefs that I have released about being at home, because growing up for me, being at home wasn't like emotionally or even sometimes physically safe space for me. My dad was very abusive. And so I always wanted, for me, being safe meant not being at home. And I didn't realize I've had this house for almost 4 years now, here on this island. And I didn't live in it for most of the time that I had it. It was my home base on the island. Like I kept all my main things here, but I also like made it into a community space. So I gave it away to other people. And even when I needed to live here, because for some reason something happened at my other house, like at one point I had like 4 houses on the island that were all like mine. And I was just like, what am I doing? And I kept like running away from each one of them. So now we are back in the space and it feels so nice to be like, this is my home. I'm releasing any negative beliefs around like basically home is a place that I can rest and recharge. I remember one time, because basically we asked them to fix the fence or replace the fence like a month ago. So it's just very funny that they came, like very funny in the cosmic joke of the universe, that they came like the day we got sick. And so we're here like in bed trying to sleep, and it's just like the most loud metal noise, like, and then like sawing the wood and everything. And so I even was like, this is a very old pattern I had, which was, okay, because on the island it's so cheap to get a different house, like even if you want another, like a bungalow on the beach or something, you can find them for like 200 euros a month. And so
like 10 euros per day.
Yeah, 10 euros a day. So we found one just to stay in for the night. I was like, let's just go somewhere and stay there and we can sleep. And then I realized, oh, this is what I always used to do. Something external would validate the belief that I had that home wasn't a place I could rest or recharge or just feel at home in. And then I really wanted to fix that and change it and release it. So I did. And then we were like, let's just I was like, I'm actually too tired to even go anywhere right now. Let's just like lay down. And we have 3 bedrooms also. So we laid in the 3rd bedroom, the farthest away from where they were doing the fence. And we put our sleeping masks on, earplugs. And then I put on like my big headphones, like meditation music. So I had my earplugs and meditation music going. And I slept for like an hour and a half in like really deep sleep. So it feels really good. And then we were both woke up and we were like, yay, we rested. And then do you want to share your one of your beliefs that you uncovered?
Yeah, first I want to comment on that like I was even saying when we're like looking at bungalows where we could go, I was like saying, here we go again. Because like last winter when we got together, like I was like, are you sure you don't want to keep the collective because you so wanted to run away? And I was still like so early dating that I could already feel like the collective is so nice, but I don't want to I want to do it like step by step, that it doesn't seem like I'm taking over or anything. And then we were just like running from place to place, which was also a fun experience, but I'm done with that.
Not calming for the nervous system.
Yes, I'm done with that. So often we experience things we don't like in order to see what we actually like. And I just want to comment on, if people don't understand that, you believed like how would you put it, that home is a place where you cannot rest and you run away from that, something
Yeah,
like
like
that.
it wasn't a safe place to like rest or recharge.
And that we create our own reality based on our beliefs and definitions. So you believe that, and thus you get all the reflections. So you got
there
the
really
reflections.
was like external things happening,
And
so I couldn't rest or recharge.
And because you believed it, here's what you get. What you put out is what you get back. And now that you like let this belief go, transformed it into home is a place where I can rest and sleep and recharge.
And it's quiet and peaceful
and
and nature.
And it feels like spirit, and it's always safe. Then you get, and then we get those reflections, and now it's like it's really nice.
Yeah, and also another one I had too was that because my mom was always helping people growing up. So if there wasn't like my dad causing chaos in the house, like if he was off working somewhere, my mom would always have people over that needed help. Like she was like doing something for our community, like I need to bake 100 pies for the bake sale, or I need to, she would create chaos in the house in her own way, because she was like, we need to help people, Brittany. And then, so this is also probably why I like turned it into a community space. I mean, of course I loved the experience. I'm so grateful for this like core family of community that we have on the island, and going through the experience of understanding how to run a community. But a lot of times I like couldn't be here because there was literally too many people in the space, or they were doing something like a nice event, but I just didn't want to be part of it, you know, or I didn't want to answer everyone's questions because they thought I could help them.
Baby, so same with my mom, and same with my life story. So often in my apartment, I'm like, where do all these people come from?
Yeah, you always had like 10 people living with you.
Why do they sleep there? And then even then I was like searching for another place, like I called it Vegan Savage Headquarters, that I can have a second place that is like bigger. And back then I was renting yoga studios to do meetups and like events, like.
So what was your belief, that home was a place that you always had to help people in?
No, it's more in this positive way that I love building community. Like we're here to lead the new earth, to be new earth leaders, and we're doing that. But then it's like we figured out how to do it in a really aligned way that feels good in your body, and that you're not here to help everyone, and boundaries, and that you then synchronistically find the people that are actually in your soul tribe, that are actually on the same mission, shifting in the new earth. And we learned it all by experiencing it all, but this is like who we are.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I love the community here. This is why this is my home, and I'm so grateful that I was able to be part of it as a leader for many years. And it's also really beautiful to step back and be like, no, because I had a really bad boundary, or no boundary, where people would just come over all the time. Like I call it like an open door policy. And it was usually for my inner crew of friends, and I loved them, but they would come here when they had a problem. So I would just be like, you know, in my vibe, making tea or like whatever, like meditating, and someone would come over and be like, this thing happened. And I'm like, and I love being that person, but it also needs to, I need to have my space where I recharge. That's why I'm saying, like this morning when you went to the beach with Afro, and I just like meditated, did my energy healing work, did some rape, did breath work, like I'm like connecting to my higher self and recharging. So then I have this energy bucket of,
but not just do you need your energy, but also the energy needs to flow back from the people.
And that's another thing too, is I thought I needed to help the whole community of the island. So like there's so many people here that know me that I've never met them, but I've helped them online somehow, like connecting them with people who need to help them, or like any cause, like we did stuff for the animal shelter here. All these things are so beautiful. But I feel that if I was more focused with my energy, which of the thing I want to build, which is my inner soul tribe, you know, my crew, the people that I want to live with and like raise our kids with one day, and like build those relationships, I will not be able to do that if I'm spreading my energy so thin and helping every single person on the island that just knows me, you know, and I don't even know them. So it's very important that in a healthy community and healthy relationships, the energy is flowing back, you know. And I recognized this when we came back to the island this time. We've been gone for like 5 months. And I was on the beach with you, and I was just like, I'm going to be who I am and in this community. It was a big belief that I shifted, because I don't need to help every single person just because they know that I can help them. I'm capable of it, but I don't need to. And I remember some person came to me when I was like laying on the beach, just vibing, the sunset. And this person came to a lot of my events, but like they're not in my soul tribe, you know? And he was like, so when are you going to do another one of these community dinners or, you know, Friday lunches? And, you know, we could really use you in the community. And I was like, I empower you to make them for yourself as well. Like everyone can do this. And he's like, oh no, but you're better at it. I'll just wait for you to do it. And I'm like, where is the energy flowing back? You know? And it's like people, and happens for a lot of people. They're like, this is how I get love, or this is how I get self-worth or validation, is people are giving me this, you know, and I can do it. So I should help. And it's like, you got to do it in a way that feels good in your body. And like the energy is coming back and it's like yummy and nourishing. So you don't have to save everyone. Like, yes, there's starving children in Africa, but like, do you need to be the person to save that thing? If it's your highest excitement and you feel called to, and you're moving towards that direction, amazing. But really check in and ask yourself, like, where's my piece of the puzzle in this broader scape? Because you might be doing something in your life that is not directly affecting the children in Africa, but you're raising the vibration of the consciousness by creating something beautiful in the world. And I think that's what we need to remember, is like each one of us, by being this vibration of like more aware consciousness and dropping into our bodies and doing the things that we love, we just naturally raise the collective consciousness. So I went on a little tangent there.
No, this was amazing. And it goes hand in hand by being in your own joy, following your excitement, that you have the biggest impact while you have the most fun. This is how the universe works. I know, it's so amazing. And like Bashar would call it selfish when you don't follow your excitement, like we all have gifts to give to the world. Like our excitement's like this, but people don't give it because of like fear-based beliefs and or because they're caught up in shit, like doing other things that are actually not their excitement, because they think I need to save the world and do all the things. No, you are selfish, Bashar would say. You are depriving people from things they need to hear from you, your actual gifts, like whatever it is. Like how can I make music if people starve there? Like this will help the most people, and this is the most fun for you. Step in your power, get the formula of really following your highest excitement, no insistence or assumptions on any outcomes, while remaining in a positive state, moment to moment. I know.
I feel that, I remember I was talking to a friend when we were driving.
Brittany just gave me the face. Stop.
The face
talking.
is like, stop.
But it's the formula is so important. It's just like nice to vocalize it like once a while.
Yes. I honor that, babe. Anyways. I find that you are the most impactful when you are being yourself all the way. And if you want to go on a Bashar rant, I honor that. But I also feel like in your experiences and your body, you have amazing things to say that are going to get the point across just as much as quoting Bashar, but more impactful because it's coming from you.
Yes.
Okay, anyways, I when we were driving up to Austria, we were talking to a friend in the car that we were driving with, and I remember her saying, like, I feel that I want to go do this thing that I care about, you know, but there's so many other people that are, it's kind of like this guilt that people have this belief, like, if I get out of this matrix or this system and I'm actually happy, it's almost like survivor's guilt. So when like a boat sinks and you're the only survivor, it's like, well, why did I get out and they didn't, you know, why am I alive and they're not? But I feel like people have like matrix survivor guilt when they're like coming out of the matrix, and they're like, it really can be this easy. I really can be happy all the time. I really can like make beautiful things in the world that make me so happy and light me up. And then they're like, but why am I allowed to do this and everyone else is still suffering? Like, and then they turn around and like they're just barely like getting themselves out of the water. So we're saying like a sinking boat analogy, and then they just jump back in the water. Like, I must save all of you or I can't get out. And it's like the best thing to do is to get yourself fully out of the water, go get a boat and get everyone, you know, like build yourself up. Or UFO. And so this is something I want to say to people is like, if you're just barely waking up right now spiritually and you're going through the process, you're releasing a lot of negative beliefs, stay on your path, work on yourself, because the best way you can help all the people that you love is to work through your stuff and get to the point where you're like this shiny beacon of light and you're just vibing and you're doing your thing. And then people are like, what is he or she doing? Because I want to take whatever they're taking, because it seems like it's working for them. And then they come and ask you, like, hey, what's going on? You seem like you've changed a lot, you know? And then you can share with them some of the tools that have helped you to wake up and what's blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, you really gotta unplug from the matrix by all the people that are sucking on you and wanna drown you back in their fears because they don't wanna be alone
And
there.
they're not doing it consciously.
Yeah. No, not like we're all doing the best we can. We're all doing everything out of love. It's like if you are believing in fear-based beliefs, you believe in them, and thus it's like your feelings, your behavior, your actions are coming from that belief that someone got into you, like probably as a baby, your parents or your neighborhood, the system, the school, whoever, and they're not conscious of that belief. And when you really unplug from that, be in your, like, as you, like, it was beautiful how you said it. This was really beautiful.
I would love for you to share about how you unplugged from like the news media as well, because I think that would be really impactful for people.
I mean, but this is not new. I do that like a lot. And like in the past, I've done it a lot. Like there were like many times where I like only listened to Bashar and maybe like 2 or 3 people like on YouTube, other channels mostly, and stopped all the rest, you know?
I just think that might be a good permission slip for people. It's like, if you really are clearing negative beliefs and you are choosing, you're in this moment of like, wow, I'm about to have a clean slate and I'm so excited to create these really positive beliefs for myself and create this beautiful world. And then you watch the news and like all these people are dying over here. And then, you know, this thing happened. Then you watch the social media thing about like the fires in Hawaii. It's like all of these things are valid. But if you're in this moment of like completely, you know, breaking yourself free, the best thing to do is create this bubble, like act like you are a little baby. And it's like, you don't make the baby watch the nightly news. You know, you like put the baby in a very safe space, let it grow, let it be in this space of love and joy, and you nurture it. And I feel like for a lot of us, when we are waking up into this more aware spiritual consciousness, we really need to be careful with the information that we're bringing in. Like we just even recognize this on like another level of like the amount of shows that we watch. Are they creating more joy in our life and positivity, or are they like giving us nightmares at night because they're scary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even more important is the people, like unplugging from the people that you love, but they're just like not having your best interest, like they're not doing it consciously again, but they like just want to like get you in all the fear that you believe that as well. Like they're really like, rah! And because the person at the news, I don't like have a relationship to them. So, but if someone calls me that is like in my family or that I love, and they're like, want to give me this guilt, like you need to be responsible for this. How can you yourself? Ah! And then it's like many people then go back, you know, to like shit, you know. So unplugging from that is like the biggest step, and then like hand in hand, and the next step, like all goes together, is all the things we consume.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to say that like we're not advising you to like disconnect from your family and close friends. Like we're not, this is not a cult. We're not telling people to like run away from people they love. But I think it's really beautiful to have a time period. So say it's a week or a month where you're just like separating with love and limiting contact. You know, it could be like I will send voice messages to my dad or something, and then he writes a text back. Like that's a very separate conversation than being on like a 3-hour phone call or something. I don't know why I use that because I haven't spoken to my dad in 10 years.
Yeah, but I have done it. Like I sent my mom a voice message or a long voice message to update her.
Lots of love.
With lots of love. And I know she loves me and she wants the best for me, but she does believe in some fear-based beliefs, and because she wants the best of me, and that's why I wanted to reassure her that, because I see other timelines, and we spoke about it, where I was like piecing out, and she is also in these other timelines where she like saved me, and she's like in the hospital, she was so supportive. She came, she picked me up from the airport, she was there in the hospital with me, and she helped me so much.
And she even got sick when you got sick.
Yeah, we're so connected, and she wants me to be safe, and I want to reassure her that. And also I know, like I woke up to so many things, and I I see through some things she still believes in that are like fear-based. And I don't want that to like stick on me because I love her so much. So yeah, that's an
But I feel
example.
like you've created a really beautiful, like, it's like the perfect amount of distance and still connection at the same
Yeah.
time with her.
And I reassure her, like, Mom, I'm always there for you. Like when you really need to reach me, you can always reach me. And I'm your son. Like I will not, like other people have done it to her where they just like ghost her, disconnect from her, and it's so painful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm never gonna do that. Like I'm here.
And we would love your mom to come to the island.
Yeah,
Like,
Mommy, you're invited.
we talk
I
about her all
told
the
her, yeah, I
time.
always want that she feels welcome.
Yeah.
Because she
and
is.
I'm not joking. I would love her here. Like, it would be so fun. I have so much energy to host your mom here.
Mom, if you're hearing that, you're welcome to come to the collective. And then you see like how our lives are.
Yeah, I just think it's important
But-
because
yeah.
go.
I mean,
What?
no, but also you're saying like we don't want people to like disconnect from the family, but I'm here, the alien, also saying you if it's really not aligned, the most loving thing to do is then separating with love, and it's all in a flow. You don't know if it's a day, a month, a year, a decade, but this is like the most loving thing.
I was just about to say that. The reason why I brought up that quote unquote disclaimer is because, you know, my family, I have completely disconnected from my family. Like, I'm only in touch with 2 cousins that I have that have chosen to not be in the religion we grew up in. But I just know how that is, like, you know, that is a very big decision. And if it was healthier to be part of my family, I would still be connected to them. But I had to make a very strong, courageous, brave decision for myself to disconnect from them because it was so much darkness and it was so much fear being put in me. And I chose to create this, you know, bubble of love and joy in my life. And those 2 things didn't go together. I remember we were walking on the beach the other day at sunset and you were like, just know that I know how painful it is. You said to me, just know how I know how painful it is, you know, to disconnect from your family, and like, I will never abandon you like your family did. And I corrected you because I was like, I really appreciate you saying that. And it does mean a lot to me when you say these things. And also, I don't want to create a reality where I feel abandoned by my family, because I could still be in contact with my family. I could still be right up in their business, you know, with them. But I would have to choose to be part of a religion and a belief system that does not feel good in my body. And I remember when I left the religion, I was still so brainwashed by all of it that I didn't have the words of like why I was leaving. I just remember kept saying to myself, it doesn't feel good in my body. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe being here. Like, I need to leave. And then of course, like, as I deprogrammed myself and released all these beliefs, I realized, oh yeah, because they're fucking crazy, you know? So speaking from someone who has chosen to completely disconnect from my family at this moment, I still meditate all the time and like visualize and imagine my mom coming to the island and her coming and baking us a bunch of pies, and her and I creating our own clothing line together because we used to make clothes together, and just so much art and music and love, because that's what my mom is. And I'm so excited. Like, sometimes I think of the collective and I feel like I'm like holding it here for her.
Imagine both our mummies to come and they become best friends. Yeah, I feel like moms are the most challenging relationship, because like we're always so connected to our moms. Like, they gave us birth,
Yeah.
and they like cared for us, nurtured us, and we're babies, you know? It's like you see it with animals when you have like a kitten or a puppy, as like a kitten or puppy, like from birth. It's like the connection is like, you know.
Do you think that your mom would talk to my mom if I got them connected?
Yeah, of course.
Because one time I had Issa's mom, one of my best friends here, I had her mom talk to my mom, and they like did their own Zoom call, and it was really cute.
Oh.
And it like meant a lot. Like, Issa's mom told Issa like a bunch of stuff that my mom had never said to me. So I like found out a bunch of stuff like through that, and it was just really nice because sometimes I can just I can feel my mom, you know, like she's the kind of person where like I would be living like across the country in America, and she would call me and be like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? How do you know?" She's like, "I can tell something happened. What's going on? Like, I'm here for you." I'm like, "Come on, honey." And she's like, "I feel you." And then she's like very witchy, you know, and I feel her, and I can feel that she's so alone, and she's just doing her best to keep her reality bubble, but it's like breaking her a little bit because she knows I'm out here and I'm thriving, and she loves me and she wants to be in my life, but she doesn't know how to put those together in her brain.
Yeah, the mom-child connection is so strong, and it's just like because we can see like the quote-unquote potential, how
Yeah.
beautiful it can be, and I would love to create more examples of that. So yeah, but it's like the age we're in, the transformational age. It's shifting, and we see like the polarities, like the old world and the new world, and we're like whatever is like meant to be is meant to be, and we're not the role models, the examples, the symbols for everything. So, but yeah, this is so beautiful.
I feel like it's the moms that are gonna, I don't think the world needs saving, but I feel like the moms are the ones who are going to create these bubbles of love and joy, because when you have a kid, you just like, it's like so much,
You care.
yeah, so much heart chakra energy just pouring out of you.
And you're like, you want to care for the child, and thus you want to care for the world. So the child has, it's like how I'm like, with Afro, every morning at the beach, all the dogs, I love to make friends, you know? And because like I want Afro to play with them and feel safe, and then it feels so good giving the other dogs love and making them friends, and then seeing them all play, you know. And I come nowadays to the Hing Kong beach, and I'm the star. The doggies know me.
Yeah, what'd you say? There's like 10 dogs there.
Yeah,
today.
today were like 10 dogs, and I met them all friends, and they were playing. And without Afro, I do it every now and then, but now I do it like daily. And because I care, I want my baby, I want Afro to be safe and like play, you know?
She was playing so good today.
And like I saw her, she's watching the other doggies, and she wants to play, you know? But she doesn't play. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna give them love. I'm gonna call Afro in, and then I shapeshift like energetically into a dog, and I'm like, what you want? And they're all like, what you want? And then like one dog is running like, oh my god. And then the other dog is running, and the other dog is looking back, oh, it's running too, I'm running too. It's like always this fun energy, like, oh my god, we're running. And we're like just of the sake of running. But it's like actually, and then they just stare at each other like dumb, like, okay, what are we doing? And then like, okay, I step in, and I'm doing like, what you want? And they're like, oh, is he doing what you want? What you want? So yeah.
I love it.
So also the dads, you know, it's like both. Moms,
of course, yeah, dads. And that's what I mean. I feel like it's both. We need both.
The divine masculine and feminine coming together. This is the new earth vibration. And as we said in the other podcast, first like within yourself, always self-love, that you're good within yourself, balancing the feminine and masculine in yourself, and then counterparts and tribe, family, the whole island, the whole world. Pew, pew, pew. Other extraterrestrials like Pleiadians. We so love Pleiadians. Like everything I read about them, I'm so Pleiadian. They're like, you can send me a DM and I send you the book Future Sex. It's like a lot of extraterrestrial races, how they make love. And the Pleiadians, this is...
we are Pleiadians.
Yeah, this is our play parties.
Yeah, that's why I made the play party.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to play. Can I get everyone to this level where we're just like playing joyfully and it's like sacred and everyone's chilling.
And in this perfect synchronicity. How then Jasmine and her now wifey met at the play party, and now they're like...
at the play party. They were friends for a whole year, and the play party is the first time they connected romantically. And I was there. I was like putting a sound bowl on with them while they're making out and like going ding.
Maybe you'll do like the
sex magic.
Yeah. Okay, should we talk about what I wrote lately, the latest on our list?
Yeah.
That people come to the island and experience like this frequency and like how life can be.
Yes.
And then they get off the island and be like sometimes like really depressed, sometimes even suicidal, sometimes even act on it. Like you had a friend pass away recently, and then that got us like talking a lot about death and like would you like to talk about it? And before I'm gonna check if the phone is still recording, just
Okay.
so it's not in my mind anymore.
Yes, so if you're following on social media, you know that a very dear friend of mine, his name is Kane, he took his own life recently, and I actually have his ashes on our altar behind me because we are going to do a ceremony here on Sunday and spread his ashes at his favorite waterfall and say goodbye together. But yeah, like this is some of the external chaos that was happening last week. Was like I was like we couldn't get a hold of him. He had been on the island for since COVID. Like he's part of our lockdown crew. And if this is the thing, like yesterday you were asking me. I saw friends at a restaurant we were at, and you were like, "How do you guys know each other?" And I'm like, "We were all on the island during lockdown because there was only a small group of foreigners left." And we all knew each other, and we were like, it was this very synchronistic. You had a connection with each person if you needed to. And so Kane and I went through many timelines of different ways that we were connected to each other. And it was like he is a super highly sensitive person. He's an Aquarius and like a 5/1 projector, if you know what that means on human design. So he was always wanting to help everyone around him. And he self-medicated for most of his life through alcohol and drugs and mostly marijuana in order to create this bubble when he's in the outside world of him and the outside world. Like he was so sensitive. He was like us, like one of these indigo kids who were like, I'm here to build the new world. And he grew up in Australia in like the middle of nowhere where it's like, man's a man and here's drink this thing and da-da-da. And so he didn't know how to be himself in the world. And I remember like we brought him into our friend group, like of my inner crew, where we would do cuddle. This is before the play party started. I would have like a group chat of all of my close friends, and like every other week we would do cuddle events here. And it was like not a public event. It was just like you had to know me and I had to feel safe with you. And we'd bring all the mattresses in the living room, and we would all just be, this is again before I started the play parties, we would all just be cuddling, making out, talking, catching up. And then I remember one time Kane and I were making out, and he just like looked around and he was like, so this is really how we can live? Like it can be this amazing and safe and we can just vibe? And I was like, yep, this is how it can be. So I was so grateful to have him in my crew in life. And but he also had a lot of his darkness that he hadn't worked out because he hadn't been sober long enough to have the pain. Like his mom had committed suicide. His aunt had committed suicide. Like he had so much pain in his life, and he didn't know how to process it. And I was talking to him a lot about this, like, this is a safe space, you can process it here. But then his money ran out. And so he went to stay with his dad, who lives on the mainland of Thailand. So at least it was still in like the bubble of Thailand. And he was there for a while. He went to rehab. He got sober. He started running marathons. And I was so proud of him because he was thriving here on the bubble of Koh Phangan. This is a lot of people. They come here, they unplug from the matrix, and it's the first time they feel that they can be safe to be themselves all the way, which is like very sensitive, highly intuitive, like psychic, those ones of us who have a conscious connection to our spiritual side. And for someone like Kane, I feel like he wished he could be just a normal person because the sensitivity was too strong, and he wasn't in an environment where he knew how to create a safe space for it. But in the island, the Koh Phangan is this bubble. It's a very safe space. Like you can go to a cafe and be crying, and like people will walk up to you and hug you even if they don't know you, and they'll ask you how you are. And it's like people are working through their stuff here, and it's a safe space for that. And then he needed to make more. He had this idea he could go back to Australia and make more money and then come back home here to the island. That was his thing. It's like, I just want to make some money and I'm coming back to Koh Phangan. And like very shortly after he was there in Australia, he killed himself. And I feel like it's because he didn't know how to be in the world. you know, like, and this is a lot of people, they don't know how they have unplugged. The matrix is this false sense of source connection. So even though you don't feel good, you can feel like something's off. At least you're connected to something and someone's telling you what to do. And you've been programmed your whole life to just listen and obey. And if I do the thing, follow the thing, then I get this perceived connection from the world, my community. But this matrix is the system is literally crumbling before our eyes right now. So people are like waking up in the matrix. You know, this is like it's like the Matrix movie. People are like, what the fuck is happening? Or you can come here and have more of a soft wake up where you're like in a bubble of safety and love and joy and playfulness.
And not just here, but here's a great place.
Yes. And these bubbles are going around the world, which is so beautiful. I'm so happy that this is happening. Like these bubbles of consciousness where people are safely waking up and they're supported in a community. And then, so they've disconnected from this false sense of source connection. But if they don't have the tools and they haven't woken up enough to realize that every single person has a source connection. Every single person. This is not something that has been bestowed on priests or religious leaders. And then this religion is also another false sense of connection to source, because a lot of religious leaders are like, I am your connection to God, you know, or you can have your own connection, but you probably are not going to do it right. So you better come back to me and I will tell you how to do it right, you know. But when you wake up out of all of that, you're like, wow, I don't need anyone, you know. But then you really have to have this self-worth and self-love to keep remembering, I am connected to source. I'm worthy of this existence. I am worthy to live just by being a soul on this timeline. And then from there, you get lots of energy coming down from source. And then you have this abundance of energy where you're like, I have all these gifts I want to share with the world. This is my excitement. And bringing it back to Cain, like he was always such an artist. He was making clothes for all of us. Like he would hand design a piece of outfit where he would like have stitching done on it for you, and he would pick it out and like make sure that it was tailored to you. And like a lot of our friends in our friend group wear these with pride, you know. They're like, it's not just because it was made with love from Cain. Yes, that is a huge thing, but also like he was very talented and this was his gift, you know, that he was doing in the world. And I feel that when people don't have this strong source connection, and a lot of this comes from how much they love themselves and how much they feel worthy of being alive in this world without having to do anything. This is something the Matrix programs us. And they go back out in the world and they get all this, it's like a slap in the face and like, you need to do this thing. You're not good enough. You're not beautiful enough. You're not enough. And then they don't have a strong source connection. They don't know how to do that. Then it can feel so overwhelming. And a lot of people have this period of time where they go back. They're like, I wanted to go away. I just want to be in the Matrix because this is too overwhelming. And rightfully so. If that's how it feels in your body, like always honor how it feels in your body. But if you know what's happening, you can work with it. Because you were saying that, babe, on your first mushroom trip, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, but this is like, you know, I was already so out of the Matrix, you know, like getting it, listening to Bashar, following my excitement. But my excitement back then, this was like a heroic trip, like one of my first ones. And I saw you with like this was your energy, you know, like this woman with 3 wolves and she's howling to me and dragons that speak and then showing me like all the multidimensional stuff. Mm-hmm. But back then my excitement was like going to the gym, building muscles as a vegan, talking about healthy lifestyle choices, educating myself about the benefits of a plant-based diet and other healthy lifestyle choices, being so positive and teaching people how to follow their excitement. Like this was such a good catch to me staying grounded and other people that it's relatable. And I was seeing like all the alien stuff and multidimensional stuff, and I was like closing that box, like going back in a box basically, because this is like too much, you know, and it wasn't my excitement back then. Like my excitement was like step by step, but what I was doing was like teaching people how to get out of the system. But in a way, like veganism was so my catch because people can understand that, and then I used that talking about the universal message, but in a way where, you know, so I was already like not like in the Matrix, but already like, how can I like use the Matrix to get people out of the Matrix, you know?
Yeah, you are already a ninja.
Yeah, like creating my own bubble in my apartment with in Berlin with my friends. We're all like in our own energy of this, and this was like so amazing. But yeah, keep talking. It's an amazing storytelling you're doing.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. I just like, I still have, even though I know, I mean, everyone's allowed to have their own beliefs. I believe that our souls are eternal, and that, when Cain woke up from this dream that we are dreaming in this reality, and he was in the spirit world, he was like, oh, fuck, because we have our higher self, our higher mind, whatever you want to call it, our soul, it is like, okay, play this timeline out, face this darkness so you can transform it in your life, in like this physical timeline that we're playing. And some people call it self-delete. So if you look at it as a video game, if you self-delete from the timeline, from the game, you like exit yourself out, you wake up in spirit and you're like, oh, fuck. Like if I was able to just transform this or get some help or do it, then I could have, made this into such beautiful light and like high vibration and like help other people who have gone through the darkness,
And the beauty is you still do. Like when you commit suicide, it's like, oh, fuck. Like I've like dishonored the agreement my soul chose, like my life theme, what you came here to experience.
And there's no negative judgment on that. It's not like you're going to get punished because you kill yourself. It's like you are your soul, which is playing the game. It's just like, oh, fuck. I exited the game earlier than I wanted.
It's like Bashar likes to say, justice is not punishment, it's realization. You're like, you realize, you're like, oh, stupid me. I came here for this epic thing I actually like to do. Like, this is the game I chose. And then, okay, as Bashar says, like, from there, you will still fulfill your life theme. Either you go back, like Cain didn't come back in this timeline because in this one he pieced out. Yeah. But then he came back in other timelines, and in this one, like from the Oversoul, it sees like all the Cains, multiverse. But in this one, he's like not here physically anymore. So in this one, he plays out his life theme from spirit.
And I feel him, like since he passed, I feel like he's been coming to me in my dreams. I'm very connected to the spirit world in this way because I've had a lot of people die in my life. And I don't find it creepy. I'm like talking to him a lot,
And it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also what Bashar likes to say, when you think about them, when you can feel him, and then when you start like crying and everything, which is like totally valid, but this is like then from the like poor little me aspect. But when you see the bigger picture and you're thinking about him, it's actually him or her, like in this case him, wanting to communicate with you. And if you stay in a positive state of being, like meditating, tuning in, and then you can actually like communicate with him. And he's here wanting to fulfill his life theme from spirit, so he's like helping us.
Yes, but I want to pause for a second and say that you have never had anyone close to you die. I mean, I know your dad died when you were little, but you were little. It is a very different thing when someone you love and you expect to see and hug again and have many more beautiful experiences, they're just gone. And that is what I'm grieving, is the physical timeline that I would love to have had with Cain, and I would love to have had you meet him. You would love him. He's so positive and so happy and just wants to make everyone happy around us. He's like me,
I totally get it. Like I didn't experience that, and I don't wish this to anyone. And it's like, get help. Like we were saying, I don't know, Insta stories, like always seek out help from every side. You're not alone.
Yeah, and just it's okay to grieve. Like I am not grieving because I'm like there is actual like proven like stages of grieving, which is like denial, anger, bargaining, which is like, I wish I would have done something, or if I had done this, maybe he would still be alive. And then like acceptance. I think there's one more, but it also goes in cycles. And this is your body processing the energy, and it's very important to allow your body. So like throughout this last week, I would be totally fine 1 minute, and then like something would remind me of him, and I would just be so angry and crying and like wishing he was here, and then just sobbing, and then I would be like kind of numb for a while, and then I would be like, okay, I accept, and then I'm like laughing. It's like this huge roller coaster, And I'm experiencing it all, and I know all of it is because I love him so much. And I'm also, by grieving, I'm also honoring our connection, you know?
And it's so beautiful. I just wanted to speak it because most people don't have a fairy in their life who speaks that. And then I see many people drown together in the negativity. And I'm like, here, this is why I'm here, like making people see the bigger picture and always come back to joy. That is like a choice, you know?
Yes.
Like
I just want to say that I agree with you. And babe, I'm so happy that you're in my life. And like this week, you have been such an anchor for me to stay, like remind me of things I already believe, you know, and just like stay in this, because I can feel myself going like deep into the well of like darkness and sadness and all of this stuff. And also I want to be a beacon of light of like, you can let the energy go through you and the emotions go through you and transform them into something that is us being human and experiencing, like we're here to experience all of it, the polarity of the positive, the negative, and the neutral. Yeah.
beautiful. And you know, my dad passed away when I was like really young.
Mm-hmm.
And then throughout my life, whenever people knew about it, they immediately shifted the energy in like this, like, oh, I'm sorry, and like sorrow.
For you.
Yeah, and like this, like there's something bad. And I'm always like why? Like I always got that we're indestructible souls, we're eternal beings, and my dad is always there, having my back. I can speak to him, I feel him, and like even at his funeral, I was asking my mom, like, why is everyone crying? And she's like, yeah, puppy died. And I was like, but it's like, yeah, physically, but he's like there, you know? Like we are indestructible souls. So I just want to remind people of this bigger picture, and like, because many people don't have a fairy in their life or someone like that. And when you actually like, it's like so wow, it's like such a mindset shift. And then like when I was in the hospital and like I kept listening to the universal message channeled by, for example, Bashar, that's what resonated the most with me. And he like so snapped me out of this depressing loop of like waking up, seeing my scar and wanting to kill myself. Like he like so snapped me out and blessing that it happened for a reason, and I'm so thankful, and this is amazing, and seeing why it happened, and like this is the most epic timeline. Like I just gotta like see it for what it actually is when I like be in the trust and the knowingness, and don't get caught up in all the societal fake source connection shit. That was, by the way, beautiful how you like said that. Like you like when you said that, like you said it earlier to me, but this was the first time, like this fake source connection from society, that society wants to pretend like this is how it is, you know? And it's like, it's beautiful how you said it earlier.
Yeah, so I think it's really important for people when they leave the island to understand that this is something they need to be aware of. Like, okay, I'm about to go back into a very strong belief system that I've been hooked into, like this like, you know, it is giving you energy, but it comes with a price of like fear and negativity. And like, how much do I want to be hooked into this? You know, like when we were in Europe, like we were aware of it, but I feel like we created such a bubble around us in Berlin, and that we were mostly in the park, or we ended up going to nature because we like really wanted to stay outside of that. And also, I mean, on the island here, there was this school that I will not name, well, I'll name it Agama. It is been known to have like, it was popular back in the day here on the island, and then a lot of the leaders of it were found out to be like sexually molesting people and using their power for bad, and so now it's like, we call it like the rape school. Anyways, but when people were going through that school, it's like a tantra yoga school back then, they were having they was blasting them out of the matrix and their belief system so hardcore that they were going back to the, like, I had an example of someone's like, yeah, my friend went from that school to New York and then like had a meltdown, like a physical and psychotic meltdown. And so there was even a place here on the island where they made like a retreat for those people who came back to the island and like needed to figure out how to integrate back into the real world. I'm saying the real world in quotation marks because we create our own world, but that is like the mass consciousness real world right now. And I just find that really interesting that maybe we don't need to create a whole retreat, but like if we can talk about it and be more aware of it and just understand, okay, this is what's happening.
Like that you're conscious about it, because and I want to talk about this more, because so many vegan savages go back from Kopangan and they're like, what the fuck? Because they're like not so, they are like, that's why it's so nice to consciously talk about all these things and then consciously like prepare yourself. I'm flying back to Europe, I'm going back in the system. Okay, maybe I do it slow by first going to nature and like settling in, and then first going there, and maybe my family situation is a bit tough, so I first go somewhere else that I do it step by step. Like for example, also the play party I hosted in Berlin, a couple people then came to me and like where they had like a mini version of that, like, Ferdi, how can I go back like after experiencing that? Like for example, one girl, she works for at the security, like custody, is that the word? Like where they check your baggage.
Oh, like security at the airport.
And she came to the play party and she like she was in her power. She was like vibing. She had the most amazing time and the connections. And then the next day came to the meet and was like, hey, how can I go back now, knowing that this exists? Like, how can I go back to my job? And now she's like, and then she came to Kopangan this winter and she's like doing it step by step. But it's like that's why like always it's so important to host people, like when you open a portal, when you like metaphysically or not speaking, like to like on the flow state retreat, we show people the vibration, and then at the end we're like telling them like integration, that's the word,
that's everything.
And now I would love to speak a little more about like you experience something like that, coming to the island or a retreat or something, and then going back to home, and it's like this inside. In this podcast we already talked so much about it, what it is. You like found your own source connection, see how it is when you are in your power, your own authentic self, follow your joy, and be not alone in that, like in community, and like have the outside reflected by like nature and calmness and all of this, and things like aesthetic dance, which are so wow. Or like kirtan, or at the beach, like drumming, or a naked beach, and coming to our play parties, and just like having these people around that are on the same journey, like in community. You're not this alien. And then coming back, that's why intuitively, the first time I came 2 years ago, my higher self so clearly told me, fly to Vienna and get a camper van and go for 2 weeks through Austria by yourself. This was so wow. And I went like out of Vienna, out of the city, and like, in nature, into the big Alps, the mountains. And this was so nice to acclimatize.
Acclimatize, yeah.
And not just to the weather, but to the system. And since that, I really felt the system pulling everywhere. Like I came back to my apartment in Berlin and it wasn't the same. It felt like, whoa, I'm too embodied for this. It's like so inside, it's like in a box, and all these things in the system trying to get you in the system as well, because this is how everything works here. And I'm like, no, I just want to flow. And then I mostly kept creating my own things, like my meetups and play parties and events. So creating a safe space where we can all flow. And then people were like, oh my God, this is my life. So
like these consciousness bubbles where it's safe.
Yeah. So that's why it's so nice to know that consciously, and then create, like we call it Kopangan bubbles everywhere, that you have at least one person. Because when we have each other, when you have one person, wherever we go, like remember we arrived in Turkey and we were like, what the fuck? This big heavy cloud of the system of woman deep suppression. I
was like in line for immigration. These two big men just like literally physically pushed into me and were like, get out of my way. And I turned around and I was like, the line is empty. And they just didn't like how I was dressed. I could tell. They were just like, who are you? You know, and then talking to the women that have like head coverings and stuff next to me and being respectful to them and all this stuff.
I was like angry at the, like how people treated you. And yeah, we got quickly out of Turkey, and like it was like, yeah, the system in Germany, like it was, we felt so outnumbered. But what I can recommend to people, have a friend, like one is already enough to bounce the energy, and then go, and then you have this bubble, because when you're just alone you can bounce it nowhere, and then you feel so alien. You're like, I'm here in the subway, but I'm actually like want to talk about this, have joy to give, but where should I bounce my joy? So I just text people or like have a friend to bounce it and create your own bubble wherever you go.
Yeah, like when we had Carl and Eve with us in the apartment this summer, it was so nice. And we went camping with them and we were just like vibing, having the best time.
Yeah, and I said one time when we were like camping and this day we took some mushrooms and we were like at the camp like cooking dinner and I was like, this is so wow and it's so normal because we all are on that frequency. For other people this would be so alien and then we would feel weird, but we can like be so ourselves because it's safe and this is the normal and we're all like this, you know, and it's like
just
wow,
little kids playing.
It was really wow. Then we got so sick.
From the weather, not from the mushrooms.
Yeah. Wow, baby, thanks for sharing. This was like really powerful, the whole Kane story. And you're like so great by, again, creating community. Everyone who remembers him, bringing them together, creating a group chat.
Yeah, if you've had a friend pass away, I recommend putting everyone in a Facebook message chat and encouraging and inviting them to share photos and memories, because when someone dies, and especially if someone kills themselves, it's such a strong feeling of like disconnection, like, oh, they literally took themselves out of the timeline. And especially like us who travel a lot, like a lot of the community that know him are not on the island right now. Like mostly all my friends are in Europe for the summer and they come back this winter. And so putting everyone in a group chat and having his dad in the group chat, and like his dad can witness like how much we love him, and people are sharing photos and making like compilation videos and sharing moments where he like, you know, really helped them and like how much he meant to them. Is his dad made a comment because someone was like, kind of like, I don't think Kane would like this. This is too much, and like left the group chat. But I honor this because I had a friend who passed away a couple years ago where I made this group chat for, and I realized that was my first time in like real grief with like a friend who passed away that I knew and was literally going to hang out the next day with. And people respond however they need to respond to grief. Like create space for everyone to respond however they need to. And so I wasn't upset by it, but other people were like, what? Why would that person write that? And then Kane's dad wrote, it was the first time he wrote into the group chat, and he was like, no, Kane would be so happy that you guys are honoring him and so proud to hear all of these beautiful things. And he said, it is such a beautiful gift to hear all of you share how much you love him. He's like, even though it feels like every time I see a new photo or hear a memory, it's like a knife in my heart, but like in the best way, because it's like he's grieving, you know, but then he can witness all of us grieving with him, and we're going to organize a ceremony this weekend and videotape it so he can see it, and people are going to mirror the ceremony in like Chiang Mai and Bangkok where they also have friend groups that want to honor him, so we're going to do it all at the same time. And it's like, because we made this group chat, like suddenly everyone is part of it, you know?
I mean, no disrespect, but I don't really honor these people who like, it's like so typical, this like, you write something and then you leave. It's like, I had it so often, you know, we create community a lot, so we have these community chats, and then like, and then I don't, by the way, I know no one's gonna like this, but how you all fly to Koh Phangan, it's so bad, and this is really bad, and this is really bad, and this is so... And then I leave. And it's like, just like...
They're just crying babies.
Yeah. And
that's
then
how I view it.
And I then remember who they are. And I'm like, I remember. You're like, I'm like, then you're not just going to come and like, oh yeah, like, then we talk about this thing first. It's like, you know.
But in WhatsApp group, we can just delete their message. That's what I do. I'm just like, no, go away.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah.
It's so beautiful what you do, baby. It's so beautiful.
This is what we have to do. But, you know, like for most of the day that I found out, like Kane had gone dark and we couldn't no one had reached him. And one of my friends, Alexandra, messaged me and she was like, I can't get a hold of Kane. She was more in contact with him in that moment. She's like, I feel like something's off. And so I put on his Facebook, can anyone from Kane's family, I thought he was still with his family in the mainland of Thailand, and so I was like, can someone from his family like let me know that he's okay, because I thought maybe he went into rehab again or something where he was offline. And then his dad messaged me like 5 days later, and I was like at the beach with you, and I just had like a decaf coffee that I thought wasn't going to be coffee, and it was definitely giving me like this anxiety caffeine kick, and it didn't feel good in my body. And And then I get this message, and it's just like that he's gone, And I'm like, what? And I just like was like burst into tears, just like shock and sadness and all of the grief. And then I was alone with that for most of that day, like, because most of our friend group that were very close, all of us, they were in Europe, and so they weren't awake yet, and I didn't want to post it we have a Facebook group for the whole community here on the island. I didn't want to post it into there until I could tell them, like, on a voice call what happened, because I felt like they needed to hear that, and I'm glad that I waited, and I'm glad that you were here to support me. But it's really hard to be alone in grief, like I had all this love that didn't know where to go, and I was just like bursting with it. And it also, grief shows you exactly, it's like this hard cut of like a filter of what you need to be doing in your life. So like I came home from hearing that he had passed away, and I told my ex-boyfriend who was living with us, you need to get out. Like, this is not working, because it wasn't working. And I was just being like the nice, submissive feminine that was trying to be nice. And he was just taking energetically and in many other ways, literally not paying for things. And it's like, he just thought he could keep taking. And I was like, no, you need to go. Like, this is not working. And da 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 da. And I'm grateful for that also. And I think, like, there's something someone told me when my friend Ella died, the one that died a couple years ago on the island, and I was very involved in creating her ceremony, like sending her body back to Germany, and like lots of deep things that were happening. And I was so sad. I was drowning in it. This is the first time I ever took ayahuasca, because I really needed some help. And I remember someone telling me, like a spiritual healer woman who I was working with, she was like, the best thing to ask yourself is, why did this person choose to have me be part of their story when they died? Because we're all part of each other's stories, even when we're going home to spirit. And I remember asking myself, because with Ella, I was about to be very close friends with her. Like, we were hanging out literally the next day after she died.
Just if people wonder, Ella is also a friend who passed away.
Yeah, on the island here. And she was from Germany, and she died of someone drugging her, like at a party. So it was like a very dark situation of how she died. She didn't want to die. And it was just like, whew, so much sadness there. And I remember thinking, okay, so why am I part of her death? Like, why am I part of this story? Like, I ended up getting closer to her in her death than I was to her in her real life. And that was such an impactful thing for me in my life at that moment. Like, I changed so many things in my life. I really delved into my spirituality, and I created a lot more boundaries that I needed in my life. And also Ella, everything I know about her is joy and like wanting everyone to be happy. And she also created a lot of community on the islands and opened one of the first co-working spaces here, and just like was always vibing, like when I close my eyes and think of her, she's like dancing with her hula hoop at Wainom, just like being a little cute kitten, And so I've been asking myself this, and I think this is really powerful for if people have had people pass away in their life. It's like, why am I part of the story? How can I use this to empower people? And with Ella, she was a woman who was disempowered. Like, the series of events that happened to her that led to her death, if I told them out loud, they are so sad and so disempowering. And I was this woman that was in her life, and I knew about a lot of things happening, and I didn't step up and ask her, is she okay? I didn't step into her life in a way where I feel like now I could tell that she really needed it. And so I used that energy and that love that didn't know where to go, and I full force created a lot of beautiful things for the women in my life. And it really made me realize this thing that we have about competition and sisterhood versus support, that we could be this big support for each other. And I have really flipped that in such a positive, transformative way. And this is why I create women's circles. And I'm so like, we need to empower each other, as women. And with Kane, I'm still figuring out how I can use this being part of his story in a way that's empowering for me, because I know that he was someone who was so sensitive. He was an alien child just like us. He would have loved all the alien stuff that we talk about. And he was so sensitive and so had the biggest heart and always wanted to help everyone, but he was drowning, you know, and he didn't know how to help himself. And like his dad literally said, like the darkness overtook him. And there is so much darkness in the world, but there's so much light too. And that's something I wish I could have shared with him more. It's like all the light that we can create. And that's why I would love for you to met him. And he would have looked up to you so much. And
Baby, you do it so beautifully. Everything. You're so, so amazing. You're so wonderful to witness. And you're doing so much for him, like speaking now here. This is like he's listening right now. And he's like, thank you for telling the story and honoring me and like helping others by telling that. This is so, so amazing. His dad is going to listen to this. And it's so beautiful how you like make him matter so much because he does and give him so much space and that we like can learn so much.
I just wish I could have done it when he was alive, you know, like
Yeah.
the last time I talked to him was like our friend group was organizing to meet up in Amsterdam. And he had just recently gotten sober and we were all talking in the group chat and he was the only one that was like, I don't think I can come and I need to make money. And I was just like, oh, I wish I could have just like bought him a plane ticket. Like,
we all make our own choices. And he made his choice. And we can respect that and like he's here, you know? Like that's the thing, like no disconnection, like he's here.
I know. I just remember like this really strong moment where I met him because he was dating my friend Isa, who is like my best friend in the whole world. And like she's like my sister. Like she was also, we met on the island, but she was also raised as Jehovah's Witnesses. She also built community. Like we have so much in common. I love her so, so much. I'm so happy, excited for you to meet her. And she fell in love with Kane. You know, this is how we met him. And her and I have this very strong pact of like, if I like a guy, because we like the same type of men, if I like a guy, you cannot, like, this is our sister code, you know. So I always had this big thing of like keeping him at an energetic distance because I wanted to protect her heart. That's what she needed, you know. And I'd had recent situations where women were being the competitive, nasty woman. And I just wanted sisterhood and I wanted to. Anyway, so Kane came into my life and I just loved him as a brother. You know, I loved him so much. And we had made love a couple times throughout the years that we knew each other, but it was always like friendship and love. And one time he said to me, like, Brittany, I love that you're such the mama bear of the community and like you always care about everyone like in the same way that I care about people, and I just love to see you like vocalize it, you know. He's like, you're inspiring for me to want to be more of that. And he was like, I want to be the papa bear of a community and he was always saying like when I get my head straight. And I know what he meant was like dealing with his darkness and his anxiety and his self-worth issues and stuff. And I don't even remember what I responded at the time, but that kept coming back to me this last week of like how much he just wanted to be in this community with us, like, you know, taking care of Afro. And he was always like making sure she was okay and like doing things around the house. Like a lot of these lights, if they didn't come from Aaron, they came from Kane because he loves lights. He's always about the good lighting and like wanting to make everything nice. And I wish I could have, I guess I'm telling him now in this moment, but he didn't need to be anything more or do anything. He was perfect just the way he was.
He's here right now.
I know.
He listens to everything you're saying. And he's like so happy that you really see him. And he was like, he wants to be seen and he was like, couldn't vocalize it. And this like makes him so happy. This means so much to him.
Yeah, like I know that you've said about my friends, like they have a lot of trauma, but it's because like we attract people like us, like, you know, like I am this little girl that just wants everyone to be happy. And my soul has chosen to go through a lot of darkness, you know, that I've chosen to transform into something beautiful. But when people hear like my actual life story and they know the details, I've had multiple people tell me, which I don't think is a very nice thing to say, but they've said, "Wow, I'm really surprised you didn't kill yourself." And I'm like, yeah, like a lot of people probably would have, you know, but I chose to transform it into something beautiful, and I had the energy for it. And I also had a mom who was like, "You're perfect just the way you are," you know, like I had this like connection to love since I was little. So I knew that I could choose the light. And with a lot of these people that I love in my life, they are these like little inner kids, and they've never had anyone show them love. They don't know what that feels like. And so like I see them and I'm like, "I love you," you know, like I'm going to give you this love, and I like pump it into them.
Baby, you do this so well. You do this so, so well. Baby, thank you. You're
But
so
they
amazing.
need to find it for themselves,
I
you know.
know. And that's why we tell everyone how. And you're doing so amazing. Like everything you said, baby, like I witness you and how you like actually learn to love yourself. Like you're the first person I met that actually loves herself. And then bounces that to others. Like how you the sisterhood and not competition. Like I see how with other women you're like honoring what they have and then don't do any so no one gets jealous. Or like I came to the first play party and you thought I dated the two girls I came with, so you like ignored me. Like you're so good in being
Yeah,
all
'cause I
that.
didn't want them to feel like I was being disrespectful.
Yeah, and like but many people, it's like one thing saying it and then another thing like embodying and being that. And you're like this big beacon, this big shiny being that like meets everyone where they are and shows them like how shows them love. Like our first MDMA trip, like you showed me love like no one else, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And it's so beautiful how we can bounce it back and forth and invite everyone to like let all the love in and bounce it back.
Yeah.
And this baby, by just us being right now here in this vibration, is like showing people that, like, you know, it's like when people see other people doing it together, especially, you know, not just one person speaking about it, but people doing it together, it activates them. Like, if they can do it, I can do it. How it's like one person broke the 1 mile in 4 minutes or whatever. Thousands of people did it because they know it's possible.
Yeah.
So this means a lot to people, to love themselves, show the love, bounce back the love, and like know that there's like always hope, that there's like always all the darkness and also all the light, and we always have the choice.
Yeah. And there's actually more positivity in the world, because from an energetic standpoint, it's like
The choice is positive, like everything is neutral, and that we
there's
get to decide.
negativity, positivity, and neutral, and that
Neutrality.
neutrality
It's positive.
is positive. So we have more positive
Yeah.
energy in the world than
This is
negative.
like Bashar sometimes like to say, it would be like, if you want to put it percentage-wise, 51% positive, because the neutrality is choice, and then you see nothing as a built-in meaning.
So we gotta choose.
And I also loved what you said. I mean, I haven't experienced like death like this, but there's like this, like seeing another beauty in that, of like this harsh cut of like what really matters. And then like, oh, I've been in relationships where people don't treat me right, and I haven't been in my joy. And then I remember the people for like how amazing they were following their joy, and this is like what matters. So I'm in my joy, and I set boundaries with people, and I'm like, what the fuck to this person? And you know, this is like for me when I used to smoke DMT or something. It's like this, it peels all the bullshit layers, and it's just like raw essence and what really matters. So this is another positive to see in that, like, do it for him or her, you know, do it for him or her. They are now here and they are in their joy. Like everyone comes home, Everyone comes home. Everyone, as above, so below. Everything comes from spirit. So everyone goes back to spirit. And he's now already there, linearly speaking, like we're all there. And it's amazing. And he wishes nothing more than us being happy, being in our joy, and living our best life and celebrating. Like, it was so beautiful how you spoke about all the nice memories of him, how amazing he is, how amazing he was here as a human being, and how he impacted people in the most positive way and co-created these most amazing memories. So rest in peace, brother.
I feel like I'm done.
Yeah. And also how it brings people in physical reality closer together.
Yeah,
So,
everything we do is an opportunity to either disconnect or reconnect or connect.
mm-hmm.
And I choose connection in everything.
Yes.
Always better when you're connected.
Maybe. I don't have words how beautiful it was, the things you said. This was like so, I felt like on MDMA. I felt like so in my heart, and you find words that like I don't find, and I don't hear anyone finding those words. So you who find words in Storytel, and it's so beautiful. It's so, so beautiful. And that you're like just telling your stories by being that beauty. So I love you so much.
I love you too.
All right. And now a little something from Bashar about all of this. I'm going to add at the end, maybe. Thanks for listening. Check out Brittany Bond on Instagram. She got it back for now. Follow her backup page and listen to her podcast, Brittany Bond, and my stories at V Gain Strengths on Instagram. And yeah, connect. Like, reach out to us. We're all in this together, and we're one big family, and we invite you to also choose connection. Because together, it's more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for listening. Until next time.
Bye.
Peace out.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day.
I'm really grateful for the chance to talk to you today.
It is our deepest appreciation to experience the co-creation of this interaction.
So, my mom committed suicide a few weeks ago,
All right.
and it's brought up a lot of questions for me about your teachings that I'd like to explore.
By all means.
So everyone tells me that there's nothing I could have done or been differently in order to help, and that it wasn't anything that I was doing that led to the creation of that manifestation.
Yes, well, you made an agreement. You made an agreement with each other that this might be likely to happen. But again, it's not that it had to, but certainly you are not to be blamed for anything because other people make choices.
It's that I see a lot of parallels between it and my process and my thinking and my experience. Like, I held the idea of her intention for the last few years, and she seemed to be held in suffering during that time. Yeah. And then literally like 2 days after I decided I was ready to open my heart and start to forgive her and look for a new relationship, she killed herself.
Well, now you have one. Now you have the relationship. By opening your heart, it let her know she could move on and develop a relationship with you from a higher plane. She will still make choices to allow her in some way, shape, or form to finish whatever it is she may not have completed in terms of the choices that she made, in terms of the reasons why she may have chosen that. In exploring her life review, she may realize at some point she may have to experience certain challenges that are similar again in order to go towards completeness because she made a commitment to do so. Nevertheless, the choice to transition into spirit at that time can be of great assistance to you by allowing you to develop a relationship with her higher self. By stretching to make a connection, you stretch towards spirit, and that can help you, in a loving way, learn more about your spiritual connections as well. So please do understand that the relationship still exists. And now she is free from whatever it is she may have been experiencing that made that seem like the only choice. She will use it to her advantage, but for right now, her focus is on making sure you use the experience to your advantage to become more of who you are, knowing that she now, from that position, loves you unconditionally and is free from all pain and suffering.
And I've had pretty good clarity on that. I've honestly experienced this as the deepest healing process of my life. It has been transforming me.
Yes.
And I think the only thing that keeps me looking backwards is this idea of responsibility. And was it, did I hold her in pain? And is it because of my process that her journey went this way?
No. No. She is capable of making her own decisions.
So in that vein, since we're constantly navigating different realities billions of times a second, I'm also wondering, why did I find myself in the one where this happened instead of one where she would seem to stick around longer or her life experience could play out differently?
Because of what it's going to teach you that you felt was important for you to learn. You haven't really learned it completely yet. So you're asking about an agreement you made that hasn't played completely out yet.
So I understand how it could be the perfect reflection for me and like for my process.
Yes.
But then I wonder,
Yes.
so yes, you're talking about her and how she's doing fine in spirit and she made her choice.
Yes.
But since we're continuously creating our experience of others out of different, distinct, parallel reality versions of them,
Yes.
who was I in relationship with? And which version of her will I be connected with in spirit?
A different version, a greater self. More of who she actually is as a reflection of the infinite.
I guess
Whatever it is you need, is what you will connect to in her.
Yeah. Sorry for kind of nervously talking over you.
No, that's
like,
all right.
So I guess I'm wondering about whether or not she's real in and of herself, or
Yes, of course she is. That doesn't mean you're not creating your version of it.
So if she has her own reality, how can it be that there are some where she doesn't do this and some where she does do this?
Because you're talking about a much higher level of the being that can experience many different things simultaneously. Right now, you're focused on what you understand as the spirit individual that represented your mother. That's the level that we're addressing right now. But on a much greater level, remembering that you are all that is, you can experience everything and anything simultaneously. It just depends on what level of the consciousness you're referring to when you talk about forming a relationship with it.
But she does have her own experience and her own choices, and she's not just a character on my screen or something.
No, you didn't make her up. The idea is everyone is a fundamental existing being, but you still create your version as an interface to relate to. That's like saying, you understand when you have a telephone conversation with a friend, you're not actually hearing their real voice? You're hearing a recreation electronically that sounds like them, but they have their own voice. It's just converted into electronic signals that are reconstituted into audio signals at your end. So it's like that. You're creating your version that you can relate to, even though she has her own reality, just as she creates her version of you, even though you have your own reality. Just like the telephone recreates the voice that isn't the original voice, but it's representative of something that is real.
Yeah, so my whole life I've been recreating her out of many possible variants to create the experience I've needed of her.
Yes, exactly. As she has done with you.
But then in spirit, where we are connected in a continuous relationship is on a higher level of like all my possibilities, all her possibilities.
Well, yes, those that are relevant for whatever level you happen to be exploring, yes.
So then would it be that like when I'm in spirit, it's kind of like my oversoul is, because sometimes you've said that when we lose someone, they don't really miss us because they're already with us in spirit. And is that like an oversoul and an oversoul together?
Well, no, it's more like the higher mind. The oversoul is something even higher. But the idea is, again, it is a more direct connection with the reality of the being. Remember that physical reality is a projection of consciousness. It's a dream. That's why you kind of have to create your version in the way that you do. Now, you're still creating your version even in spirit, but it's a closer connection to the reality of the person, the reality of the being. There's less in the way. There's less you have to recreate.
I think there's a lot I'll have to listen back to, and I might not fully understand all of this.
That's
but
all right.
I think what's been important to me is to understand that she exists in her own right and that I didn't make this in some tragic way where it was my fault.
No, it's not your fault.
One of the thoughts that kept recurring was like that if I had had more space in my heart for her sooner, there would have been space in my world for her.
Yes, but you see, the idea of opening your heart is the point, and it didn't have to result in the idea of her choosing to stay. In fact, the idea of the opening of your heart continues in the relationship that you will be forming with her as she is now. That's the point.
Yeah, and that's what I'm reaching for, is the ability to relax into this and receive all the gifts that it offers without holding
Exactly.
myself in blame and guilt.
Exactly. So her transition into spirit gives you a wonderful opportunity to accelerate the process of opening your heart and being more of yourself.
It's happening.
Yes. And therefore, it was a very loving thing for her to do. And this was done by arrangement and agreement between the two of you.
Wonderful to connect with you. Thank you for helping me today.